Hi YA nerds, Rue here with the latest read. This time we're reading Shadowhunters. This is Lord of Shadows. It is the most recent book in Cassandra Clare's crazy epic story. I think she's on book 13 now, so let's go over what this sucker's about. Inside cover says, a Shadowhunter's life is bound by duty, constrained by honor. The word of a Shadowhunter is a solemn pledge, and no vow is more sacred than the vow that binds Parabatai, warrior partners, sworn to fight together, die together, but to never fall in love. Emma Carstairs has learned that the love she shares with her Parabatai, Julian Blackthorn, isn't just forbidden, it could destroy them both. She knows she should run from Julian, but how can she when the Blackthorns are threatened by enemies on all sides? Their only hope is the Black Volume of the Dead, a spellbook of terrible power. Everyone wants it, only the Blackthorns can find it. Spurred on by a dark bargain with the Seelie Queen, Emma, her best friend Christina, and Mark and Julian Blackthorn journey into the courts of Fairy, where glittering revels hide bloody danger, and no promise can be trusted. Meanwhile, rising tension between Shadowhunters and Downworlders has produced the Cohort, an extremist group of Shadowhunters dedicated to registering Downworlders and unsuitable Nephilim. They'll do anything in their power to expose Julian's secrets and take the Los Angeles Institute for their own. When Downworlders turn against the Clave, a new threat rises in the form of the Lord of Shadows, the Unseelie King, who sends his greatest warriors to slaughter those with Blackthorn blood and seize the Black Volume. As dangers close in, Julian devises a risky scheme that depends on the cooperation of an unpredictable enemy. But success may come with a price he and Emma cannot even imagine, one that will bring with it a reckoning of blood that could have repercussions for everyone and everything they hold dear. So, Lord of Shadows. Like I said earlier, this is, I think, the 13th volume. We have the first 6. Oh, I keep doing this. We have the first 6, the City of Bones series, or the Mortal Instruments series. The next 3, which were the Clockwork series, or I'm pretty sure they're called the Dark Artifice, no, the Infernal Devices. And this is the second one in the Dark Artifices series. So my review of this sucker, holy crap, you guys. Couldn't put this book down. So much good stuff going on here. I am in love with the series. I'm so glad the second book came out. I really liked Lady Midnight. I know I'm not reviewing it today because I figured this would be the first book we do, and it did just come out. It's the newest installment, like I said. It's rekindled my love for the series. The TV show is kind of ruining it for me a little bit. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way about the TV series that I do. I'm sorry, my printer's going off right as I'm talking. You know, the only thing I really like about the TV series is that it's given me, like, a picture of some of the cast members that I never imagined before. Like, I love who they picked for Magnus. We're not going to talk about it any further than that. The cast is always amazing in the books, and the writing was so good. Cassandra Clare rarely disappoints in her writing. She's a phenomenal writer, so, you know, can't go wrong with any of her books in my opinion. I do have to gush about one part of this book, which I never thought I would say, but there is so much making out of this book, and I'm usually not that big of a fan. This is a lie. I'm kind of a big fangirl, but usually when there's a lot of, like, romance in a book, I'm over it. Like, I skip those pages really easily. It's just too much for me. There's so much making out in this book. It's like every 5 pages. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I enjoyed it. I really did. So many kisses, so many sexy makeout times, a lot of descriptive making out, which some teenagers may shy away from. I know I do. You know, and I will say this one thing, and I know this is the first episode, so who knows if you guys will like the way I'm saying this, but there's a lot of bisexuals in her series. I think the longer her series are going on, the more LGBTQIA youth that she's throwing in there, which is amazing. I definitely appreciate that. And there's so much representation. I'm not going to give anything away, but there is a trans character in this story, and technically in Lady Midnight. This person was in both of them, and there is a reveal about it, but it is in no way disrespectful. It definitely like approaches it in a very safe, calming way. The character talks very openly about like their sexuality and their gender identity, and it is phenomenal. Appreciated it on all sides. You know, it was great. In terms of tropes, this book follows a couple of them. There is the saving the world trope, the love triangle, of course. What YA book is not complete without the love triangle? There's an eldritch abomination kind of thing going on in there, and a fiction meets reality, and we also have muggles, which are not called muggles in this series, they're called mundanes, but it follows the same kind of trope with that. I would rate this book a 10 out of 10, would read again, but not for a while because, geez, that was a long YA book. This book clocks in at 700 pages. It's nuts, to put it very lightly. I gotta find my favorite part. So my favorite part happened on pages 306 and 307. As soon as I get to it. Okay. Background. Gwyn and Diana are adorable, and that's all the background you need. There are more things in heaven and earth, said Gwyn, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Kit snorted. Diana looked flabbergasted. Are you quoting Shakespeare? She said. I would have thought at least it would have been A Midsummer Night's Dream. Fairies can't stand A Midsummer Night's Dream, muttered Kieran. Gets everything wrong. Gwyn's lips twitched at the corners. Speaking of dreams, he said, you have been in mine, and often. Diana looked stunned. The Blackthorns had quieted their loud reunion and were watching her and Gwyn with unabashed curiosity. Julian was even smiling a little. He was holding Tavi, who had his arms hooked around his brother's neck like a clinging koala. I would that you would meet me formally, that I might court you, said Gwyn. His large hands moved aimlessly at his sides, and Kit realized with a shock that he was nervous. This big, muscled man, the leader of the wild hunt, nervous. We could together slay a frost giant, or devour a deer. I love this. I don't want to do either of those things, said Diana after a moment. Gwyn looked crestfallen. But I will go out with you, she said, blushing. Preferably to a nice restaurant. Bring flowers and not the helmet. The Blackthorns burst into giggling applause. Kit leaned against the wall with Kieran, who was shaking his head in bemusement. And thus was the proud leader of the hunt felled by love, he said. I hope there will be a ballad about it someday. Kit watched Gwyn, who was ignoring the applause as he readied his horses to leave. You don't look like the other Blackthorns, said Kieran after a moment. Your eyes are blue, and not like the ocean's blue, more of an ordinary sky. Kit felt obscurely insulted. I'm not a Blackthorn, he said. I'm a Herondale. Christopher Herondale. He waited. The name Herondale seemed to produce an explosive reaction in most denizens of the supernatural world. The boy with the ocean hair, though, didn't bat an eye. Then what are you doing here if you're not family? He asked. Kit shrugged. I don't know. I don't belong, that's for sure. Kieran smiled a sideways fairy smile. That makes two of us. Alright, so that's my favorite part. Super awesome. I love Gwyn. I just love him throughout the entire series. He's been great. He's definitely like a source of amusement for me. As for the age range, I'd put it at 18 plus. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of sexual situations that it's really hard to get around. The making out is one thing, but there's like pretty explicit scenes throughout the book. I mean, if you're comfortable giving it to your teenager who's younger than that, maybe 15, 16, 17 is fine, but it's definitely like a conversation you should have with your kids if you're going to be giving them any of this series so far. The original series, The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices, I think perfect for 15, 16, 17. So far The Dark Artifices, little older than that. Again, there's just a couple of explicit things. There's a lot of violence, gore, blood. Right! Never a dull moment. So anyway, this is gonna be the most unprofessional video ever. Thanks so much for joining me on Reading Rue. Again, this is the first book. Go pick it up. It was really good. If you think it can deal with all the blood and, you know, the sexual situations, go for it. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So, feel free to subscribe. Join me again the next time. I'm not sure exactly the date that we're going to upload. Thinking maybe every other Thursday. So we'll just see what happens. And thanks. Read on, nerds.